multiple ways to play the RAV Vast. Let's break it all the way down. The first way, single finger strike. When we strike the RAV, what I'm doing is I'm basically letting gravity do all of the work for me. I'm holding my hand about a hand's width away from the instrument, like so. Hopefully you can see this here like this. My wrist is nice and loose so that my hand just relaxes, like this. And when I relax, I gently digitize my pointer finger so that there's a little bit of intention here, and I'm using the very pad of my finger here to hit the tongue. So gravity is just letting the wrist drop, and then the finger is offering the control. And the part of the tongue that I'm striking is towards the edge here where the cut is, but in the center of that, close to the V of the Vast, to get the main warmth of that tone. You can also strike closer to the wing to get more of the higher pitched sound. It's the same on each side. And then if we bring it back to the center, we have that warmth. Bring it away from the slit of the tongue, and we have a bit more of that tinny sound. And it's the same for all of these other notes. What I recommend is that you practice exactly what I just did there, slowly playing up the scale, with the pointer finger, back down again, with the middle finger, back down again, ring, back down again, pinky, back down again, so that you can practice, and thumbs as well, so that you can practice getting that full control. Speaking of thumbs, it's a little bit different with the thumbs. So when we use the finger, we're moving up and down. When we use the thumb, we're going to rotate here like so, almost like opening a door, twisting a doorknob. And again, the rest of my fingers are relaxed, and then I rotate and I let the thumb whip down, and I'm striking with this part of my thumb here, the little knobbly bit here. And so it's not an up and down motion, it's a twist, it's a rotation. Again, I'm not hitting it like a drum. I'm letting gravity do all the work, and then the thumb is ever so slightly offering a little bit of movement, a bit of intention to strike. I like to use my thumb for the notes closer to me so that I don't have to bring my arms all the way back here and strike like this, right? And then once I'm about 4 notes up, then I switch to my fingers. So that's the simple finger strike. You can also mute that strike. I'm playing with exactly the same force, the same velocity. I'm just keeping my finger down to mute it, not letting it ring, right? So before we were bouncing to let that tone come through, but if I keep my hand down, then I mute that tone for a more percussive sound. Alternatively, we could bounce and then gently mute, like this. Apologies for the noise. Right? So I'm striking with one finger, letting it ring, and then I'm not striking again, I'm just gently dampening. This is a really good skill to have because the RAV is so rich in its sound. It has so much sustain, it's so alive that if we just play and play and play, it can start to get a little bit muddy and it can start to interact with itself a little bit too much. But if we can have a bit more control and start to mute some of those tones, then we can really let the different characters come through. So that's striking with our fingers, striking with an open sound, and striking with a muted sound. We can of course also use the knuckle. And the knuckle that I like to use is not this one, not the heavy one that you would use for knocking a door, but the one closest to your fingernails, a little bit lighter, a little bit gentler. And I'm not striking hard here. Very, very gentle so as not to hurt yourself. You don't need to, because that kind of like dong 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 sound really comes through with very little contact. I love this effect. You can use this in the interstitial area as well, the space between the notes, for a percussive sound. You can either strike with your knuckle for a softer sound. I find that this punches through a little bit better. I really like it. Or you strike with your finger, and instead of bouncing like you would when striking a note, you stick, like we learned before with those muted sounds. And there you have it. So now you can play the center tone, and then slap. To get a more percussive element in your playing. Another fun way that you can play is to actually find the edges of these tongues and using your nail, gently pluck them. You don't even have to use your nail actually, you can use the skin of your finger. To get a very subtle sound. You could even, if you have one, if you're a guitarist, use a plectrum, guitar pick. And you can use that in conjunction with your finger. But you could get the same effect or a similar effect by using your nail. Like so. Another way that you can play is to actually use mallets. Now, just like we talked about before with just letting gravity do the work, not striking hard, it's exactly the same idea with mallets. We want to go very lightly. These are not official RAV mallets. RAV do have their own, which are much nicer than these. But again, very, very gentle. You get a much fuller sound. You don't get that metallic sound that you get with the skin contact. You can also get a lot more volume. As you can see, I'm going very, very lightly. Again, just gently dropping the wrist down, holding the mallet in between my thumb and my pointer finger. And then I'm using my other fingers to control it. I'm not clenching with the fingers. I'm holding here. This is where the rotation happens. This is where the fulcrum is. But these fingers are kind of very, very gently offering a bit of extra support and guidance. And the mallet actually ends up kind of hitting the palm of my hand here a little bit. And that's how I know it's not gonna, if I hold it right at the back, it's heavier and it's gonna strike a little bit harder. But if I hold it a little bit further forward and let the hand stop it from clambering down, we get a much more controlled strike. So there you have it, fingers, mallets, nails, knuckles, lots of different ways that you can strike the instrument to get different sounds out of it. So keep exploring, see if you can find your own way to play as well. These things are very, very new, so we're all still discovering new stuff as we go. That's part of the exciting part of it. So yeah, enjoy, and if you're interested in following some other tutorials on the RAV, if you're looking for some patterns to follow along with, I have a whole playlist here on my channel that you can follow. I'll put a link right there for you, and I hope to see you over there. Enjoy, and yeah, I wish you a beautiful day.